We look to the heavens for hope, guidance in a world of uncertainty. Within our universe, a mighty star shines bright over us and reflects itself to enlighten our darkness. It is from that star that our very molecules are born, boundless and bright. That mighty star commands a universe of stars that bear witness to our history and are attached to our ideas of the future. In these stars, we find our beginnings. In these stars, we learn of our endings. We look to the heavens for hope, guidance in a world of uncertainty. Within our universe, a mighty star shines bright over us and reflects itself to enlighten our darkness. It is from that star that our very molecules are born.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of In the Stars with Dwayne. I'm your host, Dwayne Dunleavy, and this time we're talking about my favorite signs, Sagittarius and Capricorn. The reason they're my favorite is because I'm a Sagittarius and my rising sign is Capricorn, so it's basically all about me. But I'm not that narcissistic. Anyway, last time we were talking about Libra and Scorpio, and we found out about Libra, the air sign, romance, the good life, wine and chocolate, the color purple. This is my power color for Sagittarius as well. So if you're Sagittarius, purple is your power color. Green is for Libra, but they tend to love lavender. I think we went over that. See, I can get pulled into these signs very quickly. All right, and then there was, of course, Scorpio, which is the water sign, emotional, passionate. They really can't be stopped once they're passionate about something. Red and black are the colors of Scorpio, and they're all about emotion, and sometimes they need to be left alone for a couple of days and they go kind of like missing, but it's because they need to recharge. And so that's a water sign for you. Next, we're coming into Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is from the dates of November 22nd to December 21st. It is a fire sign. Fire, now when we talk about the elements, I'm always trying to mention that, there are literal ways to think of these things as well. So to remember that a fire sign is all about burning up energy, creating things, producing things, making something that will last after they're gone. So a lot of fire energy is about using up energy and making things of old things, or making brand new things. The other thing about Sagittarius is it's a mutable sign. So if you think about the signs being cardinal, fixed, mutable, we went over that in the last episode. The mutable means that they are adaptable. I'm very adaptable. My whole life has been about adapting to things. And I'm sure everybody watching this would probably be like, yeah, me too. But sometimes people know in certain situations, when it comes down to like really important things, you can be adaptable. You're able to change and keep moving. You don't get stuck in a place too long and that kind of thing. The other thing is that Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter. So whenever you read anything astrological, or you find out about, Jupiter moving through a certain other sign or whatever, Jupiter is the sign of Sagittarius. And it's about expansion and contraction. There's a lot of things about Jupiter that can be also associated with Sagittarius, which is that it kind of has its, in space, in the solar system, it has its own independent orbit that is very different from other orbits. And so if you think about a Sagittarius being kind of like a horse that doesn't like to be gallied in, doesn't like to have a fence around it and will jump that fence. That's kind of the way Jupiter, the planet, is. So that's what I mean about sometimes there's literal ways of remembering these things because there's literal connection between the planets and what have you throughout astrology. So lucky numbers for Sagittarius are 3, 7, 9, 12, and 21. Also 2 I find to be, but that could just be me because I'm December 2nd. So some of the strengths of Sagittarius are idealism, great sense of humor. Usually Sagittarians are fun, uplifting, optimistic. I can say I am like ridiculously optimistic at times, but I've learned that that's better than not being that. So who cares? I'm going to keep going with it because I know people who are the exact opposite, and I'd rather be on my side. Anyway, some of the weaknesses are that they tend to be way too adventurous sometimes and willing to just jump in. As they are adaptable, they're also willing to believe that people are good and mean the best for them and that kind of stuff. So they can be really and gullible sometimes. There are different things about Sagittarius that are great and that are not so great, depending on how you see it. And that's the way all the signs are. Another thing about Sagittarius that is fun is that they tend to be usually social. Now, when you get to the middle or the end of Sagittarius, which is closer to Capricorn, you can find that Sagittarians born in those times can be kind of like not so social, like would rather kind of stay in with a book and that kind of a thing. So if you are one of those dates and you say, well, I'm not that social and I'm not a party animal, whatever, I'm not a party animal either. I'd rather actually kind of be home because I'm a Capricorn rising. But once I get into the situation of a social situation, then I'm fine. So, that's kind of how it works. We like freedom. We love the outdoors. We love being adventurous. They don't love clingy people, off the wall kind of stuff that doesn't allow for any type of structure or understanding. We love to learn. Sagittarians love learning and they love teaching. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was to be a teacher. And now, if I really look at everything I do, including stand-up comedy, I mean, all of that is kind of like teaching people something that they maybe either did know or didn't know before. So I definitely relate to that one. Capricorns, we're going to move into Capricorn. That is December 22nd to January 19th. This is where some confusion comes up because sometimes Aquarians and Capricorns think they are one or the other because it only goes till January 19th. And most of the signs change over on the 20th or the 21st of a month. So sometimes those people there in the middle are thinking that they're one or the other. So anyway, it goes till the 19th. It's an earth sign. Capricorns, if you think of them, I like to think of Capricorns almost like trees or plants because they are all about connecting in, building roots, and then growing from there and watching that growth and watching healthy growth, doing what needs to happen no matter what to make that growth happen. They are a cardinal sign, so they are the most earthy of the earth signs. They're the second most earthy of the earth signs. The fixed sign is the most when it comes to those characteristics of a sign. Ruler planet is Saturn. So if you think about Saturn with the rings, now, not physically, you're not looking for rings on a Capricorn. But if you think about that ring, it's kind of like something that it kind of like holds in the Earth. It kind of, or not the Earth, but the planet itself, Saturn. It's kind of like a bumper or something, a safe protector. That's the way I think about Capricorns. They always have a protection around them of a certain space that they require in order to feel safe. Then they can move beyond that. But if you can't come through that barrier and let them know that you're safe, then you're always going to be on the outside of the barrier. So they're very disciplined, very responsible. They're all about self-care and the care of the people that they love and care for. So Capricorns are usually very, really right on tough with who they love. If they don't love you, you may not even know it. They might be very nice to you and all this stuff, but because they feel that respect and all of that is very important too. So with a Capricorn, you may never know what the situation is because they're not going to tell you unless they really want to. Lucky numbers for Capricorn is 4, 8, 13, and 22. 4, 8, 13, and 22. When we give you the lucky numbers, it doesn't necessarily mean go out and buy a lottery ticket because when it comes to the universe and astrology, money, material things, it's possible to manifest those things, of course, but they're not the real crux of what you're trying to get when you're manifesting. So sometimes those things don't work out. It's more like, if you're going to do something and you have an option to do 3 or 4, a Capricorn might want to go with 4 instead of 3 because that's your lucky number. You never know. There's different ways to interpret these different types of things. The day of the week actually for Capricorn is Saturday, and that's because Saturday is named after the planet Saturn, and so Saturday is the planet of Capricorn. I forgot to mention the planet of Sagittarius. I'm sorry, the day of the week, which is Thursday. So Thursday is the day of the week for Sagittarius. And I'm going to tell you about the famous people of both signs and the compatibility list for each of them at the end, just to make it easier because, technical difficulties, behind the scenes stuff at live shows like this, I won't go into it, but it'll make it easier in the end. So anyway, the strengths, again, responsible, disciplined. Weaknesses, they can be know-it-alls. They can be a little bit condescending, but if you love them, you understand where it comes from. And usually, if they love you, the time right after they're being know-it-alls is when they are open the most to talking about how they really respect you and love you too. And they don't feel like know-it-alls. They're just telling you what they believe to be true, and they think it'll help you. So think about that when you're dealing with Capricorns. Capricorn, just like everything in the world, at some point, they may like it and then they may not like it. And then they may come back to liking it. So you can never be, of all the stability and all of the hardcore concrete stuff that you get from Capricorns, sometimes you will see that they will waver in what they're like and dislike. Like they will seem completely against something, and then 3 months down the line, they will say, "Oh, I like that," and you'll say, "But you were so hardcore about not liking it before." So just expect that if you love a Capricorn or you're dating a Capricorn, you have a Capricorn in your family. Keep that in mind. So let me go over the compatibility charts for both, and then we'll go over the famous people for both. So Sagittarius, the compatibility list is your number 1 is going to be Gemini, Aries, Leo, and sometimes Aquarius and Libra are great, but it depends on your full chart. We always say this in every episode, and I'm always thinking if you're just watching this episode as your first one, then you need to know a few things. One is you can get your chart, your basic chart of all of your planets, which could be very different from someone born on the same day as you. So that's what tells you have 10 different places, and even more actually, where you can compare with someone else. So those are the compatibility list for Sagittarius. For Capricorn, Taurus and Cancer are your number 1s. And then right after that, and very loosely based on whatever your chart is, Capricorns are great with Sagittarius, Virgo, and also Libras. They can be really great with. I've seen a lot of Libra Capricorn relationships because Libra is all about the underdog and fairness and justice, and Capricorns really are so hard on the truth and honesty and no bullcrap from people. That's so when you get those two together, that can be a really great connection. Same thing with Capricorn and Sagittarius. I can tell you from experience that the Sagittarius is all about being open and truthful and honest, and the Capricorn is about honesty and reality and not fake things, natural things. It's kind of an amazing connection. So who are some great famous Sagittarians? Well, the same birthday as me is Britney Spears, December 2nd. She and I, and if you put us on a wall, facing the wall together next to each other, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. No, I'm just kidding. So Britney Spears, some older people, Maria Callas, who was a huge opera star, Tina Turner, Mario Cantone, comedian. There's so many Sagittarians out there in the world. Goldie Hawn is another one. And who's it? Bette Midler. so many Sagittarians in the world of fame. When it comes to Capricorn, same thing, because Capricorn is also all about business, getting things done, making whatever needs to happen for growth happen. So you'll see Capricorns in a lot of the businesses where it needs a lot of work and energy and time and discipline. So Mary J. Blige is a Capricorn. Some other David Bowie was a Capricorn. Elvis Presley. Some other Capricorns in the world. Let's see. So, famous Capricorns are like all over the place. That's why it's kind of hard to pin one down. Let's see. I think Corey Feldman may be a Capricorn. So many, actually. If you look up, if you're a Capricorn and you want to see famous people, look it up. You're going to be surprised at what hard workers and how amazing these people are at marketing themselves, but also keeping their lives very private from the glamorous or media world. So keep that in mind. Next time, on the next episode, we are going to go over Aquarius and Pisces, which means that when we're done with that episode, we have gone through all of the signs. And at that point, we're going to really start to focus a little bit on tarot and, how the tarot connects. We did start to touch on that, but I thought it was better to kind of like purify and keep it like this. So in the next episode, we will talk about Aquarius and Pisces. The Aquarius, the air sign, Pisces, the water sign. And by that time, we will then get into the tarot, and then we can start doing live questions and all kinds of stuff. I'm getting so much great feedback about the show. So thank you all for watching. And thanks for watching this episode. I'll see you next time.
Dwayne, you just, yeah, I love it because you're such on pace. You're just motoring through. So
Yeah.
we forgot about, we're going to do the ending of, we've gotten through, we wanted to get through all of the signs, so we weren't doing signs in accordance with the month. We
Right.
just wanted to make sure that we got all the signs out for people who don't understand signs and basic astrology. So that's what we've been doing for the last 7 episodes. And I am gonna love that we're gonna get into tarot and oracle decks and all those things and the Q&A. Everybody remember to go back and watch. If you don't know much about astrology, start with episode 1, where Dwayne breaks down astrology, what it means. He's talking about water and everything else. And then we'll get in to these tarots, but we want everybody to have that good understanding about astrology. What I wanted to ask you was 2 questions before you take off. One was, how important is it to understand all the different makeups of your sign and the astrology that belongs to you, instead of just saying, well, I'm a Sagittarius and this is what I am?
Yeah.
How important is that?
Well, you can imagine if there was any other type of way of looking at your characteristics and stuff, and there were 10 different points for each individual person, you would want to look at all of those points before making an outcome or a decision. And so if you're not looking at your full chart, you're not looking at 9 other things. So your sun sign is the one that everybody knows. So mine would be Sagittarius, yours is Gemini, but beyond that, you've got a rising sign, all of the planets, and then it goes into the houses and where in that house your planet is. And so it's almost like a combination lock. And even if you're born on the exact same day as someone else, your combination is very different from theirs. And that's why a lot of people who think, oh, astrology is fake or whatever, because I'm born on the same day as this person, they're very different than me. So that's how important it is if you really want to look at it. And then on the other end of that spectrum, which I like to mention, it's also not at all important. It's not brain surgery. And I don't live my life completely by astrology, but it being a 3,000-year-old art form and what tends to be, in my idea, some science, I find it uber interesting, and I'm constantly trying to get it to show me that it's wrong. And every time I turn around, it's right.
You know what? You look at your basic sign and you think, well, why do I do this if this doesn't fit my sign? And you find out 3 other indicators of why you've made certain decisions. And Dwayne has also expressed to people like, this is not the end all be all. You don't say, I'm not going to date this person because they have this sign and this sign and this sign. your upbringing plays a lot into it. You know, a Sagittarius born in New York versus a Sagittarius born in Kansas versus a Sagittarius born in Miami versus a Sagittarius born in Montana may have these little distinct differences based on upbringing and what other influence it has. But at the core, you can find a lot of those things that are similar. And that's why those four people who are different, but they also share some similarities based on those signs. So,
well, and if you think about exactly what you just said as a physical representation, so here's the Earth at the time a person is born, and someone's born, let's say Nebraska is up here. And then this is the same day, and someone is born in China over here. This person is being affected by these planets very different than the person down here is being affected by the magnetism, the gravity of these planets pulling around it. So when it goes around, it's pulling in a different way. So they have the same sign, for instance, but they are very different because of where the planets were at that moment. So when you're born in a different part of the world, that's why when you do your chart, you have to give the time of birth, the location of birth, and the date, because depending on where the Earth was when you were born, that's how you were affected by those planets.
I think a lot of people miss that. They get the date and the month, but a lot of people don't know about the location is very, very important. The location is very, very important.
It's huge because the rising sign changes every 2 hours. So if you're born at 12 o'clock on my birthday, you're a Sagittarius rising. If you're born at 2 o'clock, you're a Capricorn rising. You know, and then it keeps going like that throughout the day. So your rising sign could be different from someone born 2 hours apart from you.
All right. And that's why you got those subtle differences. Okay, Dwayne, that was awesome. Our next episode, everyone, is in 2 weeks. Dwayne does this show every 2 weeks, and we're going to get into tarot, and we're going to get into oracle cards and themes and all of this fun stuff we have coming for you. Thank you all for watching, and enjoy Dwayne.
And by the way, thank you to John Stevens, Keone Stevens, ladies and gentlemen, the rare live cameo appearance on a live show.
I pop up every now and then.
Yes, well, thank you. As I always say, Keone is the black Andy Cohen. So everybody enjoy.
You didn't say Andy Kaufman, so I guess I'll take it. All right, Dwayne, I'll see you in a couple.
All right, everybody, keep looking up. See you next time.